Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, sir.
How are we doing today? Good. Everybody ready to learn about dressing for success? Okay. You excited? I don't think you're excited. Let's start over again. Good afternoon, everybody.
Good afternoon, sir.
Good. Now we're getting ecstatic. So my name is Justin W. Henley, and I was invited, thankfully, by your teacher, Mr. Dexter Johnigan. And today I will present to you a topic that deals with dressing for success. Now, just let's say by show of hands, how many have heard the term dressing for success? Okay. What's your name, young man? Caleb. In your own words, what does dressing for success mean?
It's when you dress properly for a certain occasion.
Okay. Awesome. Give him a hand. We have you as well. What's your name? Levine? Lamine. In your own words, what does dressing for success mean?
Dressing for success is like dressing nicely
Okay.
and make it appropriate.
Okay, great. So both of them, let's give both of these young men a hand. And you're right on the same page as far as what dressing for success means. Now, I'll give you a little bit of a background about myself and how I got started in the actual professional image consultant role. So I actually am the CEO of JWH Apparel and Image Consultants, which is a wardrobe concierge company here based in Atlanta, Georgia. It was founded in 2011, and how that came about was I was actually working in the higher education sector and just wanted to find my niche market. So I always liked to dress. I've been doing this for a little over 15 years. Actually started when I was young as you guys' age, and just wanted to see if I can present the information to where I can empower individuals to dress for success. So I came along with the concept of working in the education area and going to different high schools, different middle schools, as well as nonprofit corporations to present topics of dressing for success. Of course, for myself, being a young adolescent, I would always wear business attire, whether it was a shirt and tie, whether it was a sweater, anything that dealt with looking my best. So I felt this may be a good idea to teach it to individuals who are actually future leaders and wanted to learn more about how they can dress. So that's how the company came about. Well, the concept of concierge is really where I move around and I go to different locations. So I actually bring the workshop towards the actual companies. So like being here at Tucker Middle School was a great opportunity, so I felt, let me go ahead and present this information. Now with you guys being younger, I think it's very important that you take great notes and understand the importance of starting young, because like myself, it helped me to groom as I began to get older into my adulthood. So just kind of gave you a scope of where I am, and like I stated, the company has been around for over 4 years and is continually growing, thankfully. So as I move forward in the topics, if you have any questions, we'll make it very informative, okay? I like to engage a lot, so to keep your attention, I'll ask you questions, and then we'll have a fun little workshop activity later on, and we'll show you how to tie a tie, because I think that's the first biggest step when you're trying to dress for success. Would you agree?
Yes.
Okay, so let's get started. I'll give you a little overview. We're going to talk a little bit about the purpose. So what's the purpose of me being here to present the information to you? Okay. Then we're going to talk about the importance of first impression. All right. Now, as many of you may have heard the term, first impression is always what?
The
Last
best
judgment.
impression.
The best? Okay. What did you say?
The judgment based on the judgment of you based by another person.
Okay, great. So the judgment based off of you, what people see, what they hear, all of that, body language, so that all will play a role in the first impression. We're going to look at how we pay attention to details, because we can look good, but those details are very important that we also focus in on. Then we're going to talk about how we get the correct suit. Now, of course, as you're being young, some may have a suit, but I'll also give you tips on how you build your wardrobe. Then we're going to talk a little bit about professional image and accessories. So how you accessorize your wardrobe. Of course, affordability, because you're younger, so you're probably like, well, how do I dress and look very well if I don't have a lot of money? So I'm going to actually provide you some resources of how you can build your wardrobe for affordable pricing. Then we're going to look in how looking nice for a little price. So we're going to give you a couple of your local stores around you and actually let you know how you can go there and shop very inexpensive. And then last, we'll teach you how to tie a tie. So we'll do a little demonstration. We'll involve some of you guys and see who can tie the best tie. Sounds great? Okay. So when we talk about the purpose, this is to assist you where we'll present you as candidates of choice. So we want to separate you being Tucker Middle School students towards some of your other rivals. Name some of your rival middle schools.
Stone Mountain.
Stone Mountain. Chambly. Redan. Stevenson. Cedar Grove. Okay. So you guys are on top of things, I see. Now, we want to project you as the highest based on other middle schools. So, of course, when you're, competing, how many are athletes in here? Okay. So you probably compete against Cedar Grove, Stevenson, correct?
Yes.
Okay. We want to demonstrate you as job ready and excellent. Basically, that means even though you're younger, you may still be offered a summer opportunity, a summer job. So how do you prepare? How do you get dressed for that opportunity? So I'm going to show you how you build that and how you do that early in your younger days. And we want to also show you how to dress for success at all events at Tucker Middle School. So are any of you in any clubs here? What clubs are you here? Gentlemen of Distinction. How about that? It's the Johnigan's Club. That should be the #1 club you want to look great for. What's your other? Arts and Sciences. What's the other? FBLA, which is Future Business Leaders of America. Okay, great. Now, as I asked the question earlier about first impression, many of you already knew what that meant, okay? Which is really the value of making a positive first impression. So that means the minute you walk into a room, when you wake up in the morning, the first impression is when you look in the mirror, you want to make sure after you're sleeping all night, you want to wake up, wash your face, brush your teeth. When you walk out the door, that will be your first impression once you come into school. You want to make sure you have neat and clean clothing. So I think all those components make up your first impression. Now, when we talk about the company's dress code, let's just say here at Tucker Middle School, you may not have a dress code specifically, but let's say for gentlemen of distinction, you may have to wear, a tie or maybe a button-down shirt here or there. So this is how you start to build your look for those meetings. Future Business Leaders of America. So if you're projecting to be a leader, you want to also dress and look like a leader, right? Okay. And we're going to talk about how well-fitted clothing is supposed to look. How should it look appropriately and how it should be groomed on you. We're also going to talk about how you never want to distract your interviewer, meaning with your clothing, okay? Because it can be very distracting for someone if you just, blab out information or if you just don't look up to par. So we're going to talk a little bit about that. And also the importance of overdressing versus underdressing. You know what that means? Anyone? What's your name?
It's like, Keenan.
Keenan? What does overdressing mean?
Overdressing, like doing too much.
Okay. When you say doing too much, give me a little more details.
Say, if you're wearing a suit, it's like, put on the hat, like some sparkly shoes or something like that.
Hat and sparkly shoes. Okay. That's a good explanation. Anyone else? In the back row. What's your name, young man? Can't hear you. Joshua. What does overdressing to you mean, in your own words?
Wearing unnecessary accessories.
Well, okay. Give me an example of an unnecessary accessory.
A watch.
What kind of watch? Because I'm wearing a watch. Is my watch not a nice watch?
It is.
It is.
Okay. So if I wore this watch, you wouldn't like it? Is it presentable?
But if you wear too many watches, like two watches.
Okay, now we're getting more information. So let's talk about the big gaudy watch, right? Like the rappers may wear, or you may see it on TV. So we have to distinguish what type of watch is presentable, which we will talk about, versus an excessive, very loud or gold watch. Okay? So give yourselves a hand for participation. Let's talk a little bit more in detail about how you're looked upon as far as the first impression. See, there's also ways that you're judged. Okay, so it's not just how you look, but the appearance and body language. Did you realize 55% of that makes up the first impression? You may have not have known that. So out of 100%, 55% is your body language. Okay, what does that mean? Somebody tell me, what is body language? Yes, sir.
Kind of like the way you walk and how you act, like how you dress or something like that.
Okay, so the way you walk and dress, absolutely. Give me couple more volunteers. Yes, sir.
How you react to things.
Okay. So if I was standing up here and I was kind of nonchalant, or I was leaning a lot, or my body language wasn't upright, would that be a good first impression?
No, it wouldn't.
Okay. You're very strong. What's your name? Keeman. Tell me, why is body language so important?
See, if you don't have the right type of body language, then they're not gonna assume that you professional.
Absolutely.
To the point where you want to work for them.
There you go. So that's great. So you wouldn't take me serious. You wouldn't take Mr. Jonigan serious, or even what's your name? Lee.
Mr. Lee.
Mr. Lee. See, because we all are leaders, we have to lead you guys, and we have to be an example. So if body language didn't make up almost half, then what would, right? Now, how you talk, pacing, and how the inflection is 38%. So what does that mean when you're talking? Yes, sir.
It means like the way you talk, like because you got like wrong grammar and stuff. You don't think you have low education.
Absolutely. So it's very important, the education part, how you're articulating your words, if you're clear and concise, I think that's very important. You had your hand up? Who else? Who else can tell me about your tone? Yes.
How loud?
How loud. So if I was screaming across the room, or if I was very, too aggressive talking to you, that may kind of intimidate you, right? So I have to have a very projected voice, but also make it, where it projects in a way that I'm not offending you, right? So that's very important, that the way you project is a big part of that. The way I'm pacing, so I'm pacing the room, but I'm not running across this way or running in this lane. I'm just kind of staying right in my position. So I have to stay very positive, of course, and under composure, okay? Now, your verbal content, that makes up 7%. What is verbal content in your own words? Yes?
What you say and how you say it.
Absolutely. What you say and how you say it. So tell me what that means. When you say something and how you say it. When your parents say something to you, right? How does that come across? To you?
Me?
Yes.
I know it. I think it's mean.
Okay, you think it's mean. So you think they're chastising you? You think that is, just, why do they keep telling me this? Well, it's for your own good, okay? So basically, we want to ensure we're taking in a message, but it's not to offend you, it's to teach you, it's to enlighten you, right? So our parents know what's best for us. Obviously they've been through a few things in their lives, so we have to make sure we are aware of what they're telling us, okay? So these are very important components of first impression. Like I stated, when I was researching, I thought, well, maybe it's just how I look. But then as I got into more details, I realized, wow, it breaks down in a lot more components, okay? Any questions on this first impression? All right. So now let's shift gears, and we're going to talk about paying attention to details. Now, what is details to you? Yes?
Like, if you talk about a specific topic, don't change to another topic.
Okay.
Stay on that topic.
Stay the course, stay on topic. Anyone else? Yes, sir.
Dress, if you're going to dress nice, you gotta, like, be ready, everything crisp.
Okay, so that means, you know, dressing nice means like preparing yourself, making sure everything is laid out the night before. Okay? Yes, sir. You got your hand up? No? Okay. Now, what I was stating, we have a nice little mannequin here. So, and myself, what I wanted to do is show you what a jacket and coat should look like when you're wearing it. Okay? Mr. Jonathan, come up. I want to show you an example here of Mr. Jonathan as well. Okay? He's going to just be my live mannequin. Okay? So, Mr. Jonathan is wearing a nice blazer. Okay? We're just going to go over some of these details. 2-button blazer. Now, his shoes are very well polished. Okay? So, we're looking at the details of his shoes as well as his blazer. Okay? Well, also, his shirt is clean and pressed. All right? And it's not old or worn. Right? It doesn't have any holes, and it's actually laying very well. Okay? Now, we stated earlier about a watch, remember? You said, well, we can't wear a watch, that's big and gaudy. Well, guess what? You want to have a watch that's something, you know, it can be nice like mine or Mr. Jonathan's. This young man, come on up, let me see your watch. Come on, Caleb. Don't be shy, Caleb. We're all here to learn. But we're just showing you some details. So you see how nice Caleb's watch is? It's a nice one. Isn't it for Caleb, man? Your parents did well. You saved up for it? They bought it. Good job. Give them a hand for that. So, I'm just giving you examples of how you should look and present yourselves, right? Okay, a very important thing here is strong perfumes and fragrances. How many have allergy problems? Okay, a lot of you, right? Even me. So, what really affects allergies is fragrances, right? How strong they are. So like, let's say if I sprayed a whole bottle of cologne on here and came and presented to you, you might start sneezing, you might start coughing. So what you do is you gotta minimize your fragrances you're wearing, of course, in that specific setting, right? Now, see, when I went to the dentist today, you know what? My dentist said, you know, your teeth look great, you haven't had any cavities, just keep doing what you do. So I think, you know, I took that very seriously. So I made sure before I came here, my hygiene was up to par, okay? Because I couldn't be presenting and then you'd be frowning, looking at me, right? You're laughing like, wow, he doesn't smell as good as he should, right? So I think that your body will perspire and what comes out your mouth, you want to make sure you have. You can just buy it at the dollar store. A little, you know, fragrance or a breath mint. Because, see, Mr. Jonathan has the Altoids. Look at that. He's prepared. Something small as that. It will cost you $1 at the dollar store. So it doesn't have to be expensive, but just keep that in mind. It's very important. I mean, even when I was in middle school, talking to my friends or fellow peers, they don't want me to talk and I'm not smelling up to par. So I think that's something you want to take heed to as well. Now, as we talk about details, now we're going to state a little bit more about getting the correct suit, because I think many of you need to ensure when you build your wardrobe, you can build it piece by piece, okay? So, how does that look? The fit has to be proper. Mr. Jonathan, I'm going to use you again, just for an example. So, as he has on this nicely fitted blazer, the biggest thing that I notice is the way the lapels are laying very flat and the shoulders are square to his body, okay? See, that's a very important aspect. There's no ruffles, everything is smooth across the back. And the length is very important. So everything is fitting square to his body, okay? So that is a very important detail when you're talking about getting the correct suit. Even for you, young, if you have a blazer, anything, these are the core areas you want to make sure you look at. Now, this thing here is what's called the lapel. Now, if it was like this, buckled up, then I would say, well, this fit is not really proper for his body type, but it's laying very flush and very nicely, so that is a proper fit, okay? Also, the length of this jacket, the important factor here is it has to be at least 3/4 length to your body. So, let's say you're 6'1", 6'2", 5'11", okay. So, his jacket shouldn't be any longer than where his finger thumbs cuff underneath. That means when he puts his hands down, if he's grabbing too much fabric, guess what? The jacket is too long. Does everybody understand? So again, I'll use myself as an example. We're about the same height, okay? So our jackets should be 3/4 length to where our pockets are. So when I put my hands down and I cuff it, like Mr. Johnigan, I'm not cuffing, or he's not cuffing too much fabric. So that makes it the proper length, okay? So that's another detail that you want to make sure when you're looking to wear a jacket thing. You want to have that length, the proper length for your jacket, okay? Now, I'm going to talk a little bit about your professional image and what should you wear for men's attire, because you're probably looking up here like, well, this looks pretty nice, what I have on, but we're going to just go into details of what particular colors are, of what you should wear when you're building your wardrobe piece by piece. We're going to say your solid covered colors, the conservative colors, your navy blues, like myself, like Mr. Johnny, your charcoals, your grays, your blacks. These are your very conservative colors when you're building your wardrobe, okay? A white long sleeve shirt. Mr. Johnigan has one on, you have one on, okay? You didn't know that, did you? You have one on. Mr. Lee has one on, okay? So I have a light blue one on, which is also shown here. These are all your conservative colors when you're talking about dressing for a proper occasion. You have dark socks, okay? As you see here, this is a sample of some of your sock colors, like your charcoal grays, okay? Now you can wear, let's just say they have happy socks. After you are in an environment that presents that, I say you can wear it. But of course, if you're in a Future Business Leaders of America group, you want to keep it toned down. Now, did you know that your socks are an extension of your pants? How many knew that? Your socks, okay. Did you know your socks supposed to be an extension of your dress slacks? Meaning, if I'm wearing this color suit, I shouldn't have on a white pair of socks, okay? So I should have on a navy blue pair. Which, go ahead. I didn't hear you? Okay. But yeah, you're supposed to have an extension of your dress slack to your actual sock. So that means when you sit down,
Amaya Everhart, come to the front office.
when you sit down, if your actual pant leg comes up, your socks should look the same color as your suit or your jacket, okay? So just keep that in mind. When you're getting a dress slack, say a black pair, charcoal gray, or navy, make sure you say, Mom, Dad, get me the same color socks to match, okay? We want to also limit the jewelry. Now, we talked about the big watches, but minimizing the jewelry. So a tie clip is something you can wear with your business attire. Would you say earrings are something I should wear presenting up here? Why not? Go ahead.
Well, sometimes it's too flashy.
Okay. And any other examples of why I wouldn't want to wear earrings while I'm presenting here? Someone else. What's your name? Both of you. Alexander, why wouldn't I want to wear earrings while I'm presenting to you? Not professional. Okay. What about you?
I guess because it's like not proper to do that, especially when talking to somebody.
Right. So remember I said earlier in the presentation, you want to minimize, being flashy, like you said, or it takes the attention off of what I'm talking about. And it, really will put more emphasis on my earrings. Now, let's say outside of the classroom, it'll be fine. If I'm just on a weekend, I may wear an earring or two, but not in a professional environment, okay? We want to make sure, you shave. Now, you may not actually have facial hair yet, but as you get older, you want to keep your face groomed and really well smooth. So that means invest in an aftershave. I went to my barber before I came as well. So again, all these details I take heed to when I'm in front of a room. Okay, so like I said, you're young now, but keeping your face smooth, of course your hair. Okay, now some of you may have more hair than myself, which is fine, but you want to have a great barber or at least have some clippers where you can keep your hair kind of groomed pretty nicely. Okay, so that's a very important thing. We talked about your body fragrance. We talked about, investing in a mint, invest in a brush or a comb, okay? Make sure you keep your facial, everything up to par. Now, how many have a portfolio or a business card? You do?
I have a portfolio.
Really? Tell me what's in your portfolio. Well, tell me what is a portfolio?
A binder or a folder that you use to keep it
Okay. What's in your portfolio?
science, just papers or
Okay.
stuff that I do.
So you're keeping an organization with your portfolio? Yes, sir.
Your work
Your work.
and your name.
Okay. So this is like your walking billboard, right? This is when you're presenting yourself. So you're actually inspiring to be, what do you want to be when you grow up?
I tell you what,
A lawyer. Okay. So you're building that portfolio with your name, your information. You want to be a future lawyer. I think that's fantastic. Someone over here. Yes. Who had a question? I heard a voice. Karen, what's your name? Don't be shy. Come on. No, it's you. But it's okay. So, the portfolio is fine. We just want to, make sure that's part of your package. Okay? So when you're dressing, when you're providing yourself with a portfolio, you may be able to create a business card. You can go on Vista Print. You can create a cheap business card. It can just have your name, email, and what you want to be. That may impress someone a lot when you just, speaking to them. And by the way, it's the last impression. So if you hand them this card, they may say, wow, you took me serious. You may put it in their pocket, but they may pull it out one day and you never know what can happen. Okay? It's just being prepared. So I talked to you all about what you should wear, how you should look, but I didn't go into details about what you don't wear. All right? So I think this is very important that I tell you what you shouldn't wear. Let's talk about, you don't want to wear slacks that are too long or too short. Okay? So if you have high borders, that's too short. So you want to keep the length of your pants about right to where your shoes touch. You don't want to wear clothes that are soiled or defective. What does that mean? Make sure you have a cleaners. Make sure your parents are teaching you young how to take your clothing to cleaners. You don't want to wear loud or flashy clothes. So that means your bright colors like your orange, your lime greens. You want to keep those colors minimized in a business environment, okay? You don't want to wear a tie that is too short or too long. So my tie should be right at my belly button, okay? So did I do a good job?
Yeah.
Sure? Okay.
Luma and Shahad Yunus, your father is here. Luma and Shahad Yunus, your father is here.
You don't want to wear a clip-on tie. Now, I know when we were younger, we might have had that happen, which is why we're going to teach you how to tie a tie now, so you can actually learn this and store the information. You don't want to wear clothes that are out of style, all right? So what does that mean? You might have old clothes, right? It's clothes that you got when you were a baby. We don't want to wear that. You're now young adolescents, so you want to have that youthful clothing look. You don't want to wear too many patterns, okay? So, like for me, if I was coming in today and I had a polka dot shirt or a loud tie, I don't think that would be presentable to talk to you about dressing for business environments, okay? And you don't want to wear neck chains unless you know they are acceptable. So, as I stated, a nice watch or a tie clip, that's more than enough jewelry that you can have when you're actually in a business environment. Now, when you're with your friends outside, great. Wear, any type of other accessories, but not in a business environment. Now, professional dress, this is just to paint a picture. You want to make sure you have a navy, black, charcoal, or gray suit. A professional white collared shirt. Professional black shoes, or brown, as you see here. Professional haircut. And of course, like I said, a professional card. I know you're younger now, but you want to start to just kind of get in the mode of finding what your niche is, what's your passion. What do you want to aspire to be? All right? And you could just put it on the card. I wanted to aspire to be an image consultant. So I put it on the card and here I am, presenting the information. Some of your accessories. You want to stick to a basic watch or a tie clip in a business environment. Use your portfolio or your resume, as we talked about earlier. Don't wear big or gaudy jewelry, all right? As we said, a watch, earrings, or bracelet may be a little much. I would just keep it to a watch and like a tie clip. Make sure your clothes and shoes are current, all right? So my shoes have to be current. You know, I don't want to wear flip-flops with a business attire. I want to make sure everything is up to par. And affordability. When I was your age, I had to invest in myself. My parents did the same. You can build your wardrobe piece by piece, okay? Take advantage of your mix and match sales. How many go to K&G? Okay, so Men's Warehouse. All these are Marshalls. These are very inexpensive stores. Utilize all avenues, okay? The Goodwill, many people don't go to, but I think is a great place where you start. You build a wardrobe for a very low price. Guess what? You may find brand new clothing there that's just, people can't fit it. So they went to the Goodwill, like me, and donated to the Goodwill, okay? So here's the stores I would suggest you start. Your Goodwill, your Ross, Value Village. I think it's one right across the street, actually. Down, right.
It's a Goodwill.
Marshalls, Burlington Coat Factory, TJ Maxx, Sears Outlet. They're about 10 miles if that from this area, right? See, and you can go there on the weekends and find a lot of this clothing that I have presented to you. So, now that we talked about all that, we're gonna have a little fun, okay? Does that sound great? So we're gonna all learn how to tie a tie. So, the basic tying of a tie, we're gonna take the short end of the tie and we're gonna pull the long end down. Okay? Everyone doing that?
The long end touches.
Alright, so take the short end.
Listen up, guy.
Look,
Listen up.
see the short end in your right hand. Are you right-handed?
No, I'm not.
You right-handed?
Me what?
So, you got to tie it this way. Yeah, that's fine. Now look, you see the short end, come underneath. Everyone have that? Yes. So you should be grabbing with your left hand now.
Yes.
See the long end?
Yes.
Come underneath
Yes.
and just go over it. How we doing? We okay? Okay. You start over. Short end, right hand. Long end, left. You got that? Now, look. Come underneath with the short end. Take the long end and come down and over. You see that?
Yes.
Okay. Now, we're going to go across. Hold on.
They got this all
Magic right
I have a little printout at my house where sometimes I'll try to tie different ways. There's plenty of, I have one little thing on Pin Interest that shows 18 ways how to tie a tie. So, you know, Joshua showed us his version, you have your version, I have my version. So guys, it's just up to you. It's up to you what you prefer. But I'm gonna go ahead and turn it back over to you.
Okay. Let me see this tie. So, as Mr. Jonathan said, there are different versions. Now, it all depends on the type of tie you have. Mr. Lee, you want to come up here for me? Sure. Now, there's several different fabric types and ties, which determines how you tie the tie, right? So, Mr. Lee has a slimmer tie, where I have more of a medium tie. So the way I tie mine is a little different because I'm trying to have a dimple in the middle of my tie. Whereas his is more of a single Windsor. I'm thinking because he has a slimmer tie. Okay. Well, this is more of a thicker tie, so we'll do a double Windsor. Double Windsor just gives you a fatter knot. Now another tip is the type of shirt you wear, the collar. See, his collar is more spread collar. Mine is more medium collar. And that makes a difference on how the knot sits up on your actual collar. and how far that, you want to spread that actual collar open. Well, I'm gonna just show you the double Windsor is just a couple more loops around. You may not get it the first time, but this is a demonstration of the full Windsor. It's in your packet. Again, I'll be honest, guys, I didn't learn how to tie until I was probably 18 years old. All right, so trust me, if you're learning now, you're way ahead of the curve. I think Joshua did a great job. Give him a hand again. He tied this tie without a shirt on, and that's pretty impressive. See, a lot of times, I need to wear a dress shirt to do the tie, but Joshua was able to tie without it, so that's fantastic. Well, the thing is, with the double Windsor knot, it's just really making it where you get that proper length on the tie. As Joshua did, I think he did a single Windsor. So all I did is I'm gonna go up under and around and then down. I know this is kind of a maze here, but then I go around, right? And then I go up again.
And then you come back one out there.
And then I go down.
And then he got it.
And see, the key is, see how the knot is? The key with that tie is the way this knot sits up. So that's the way double Windsor looks. It just has a fatter knot on the top of it. So that's just kind of another way you can tie it. Single Windsor is just, you don't go around and up. You just go one time. That's the difference. Single versus double. Make sense? So, I think, you all, I appreciate your attentiveness. I appreciate your participation. And thank you for your time. Mr. John, thank you for inviting me. All right. Let's give it